draw this to a conclusion, listing of some of the things that were already said. The primary answer, I believe, to overturn some of the psychological afflictions we have suffered over the several millenniums, we must carefully look into the chronologic of how all of this myth, condemnation has came about. If one probe and research further back before Alexander came and reigned, before the Persians came and reigned, before the Assyrians came and reigned, the Saudi Arabians, England, France, Germany, Rome, America, and any other culture, there were writings that preceded all before they came into existence and before they came into view. And when they came into view, they were able to write and discover what they thought was a whole new approach to their writing, defining those Africans whom they decided that they were going to remove from his reign of power and control and influence and replace that by their presence. So the first thing had to be done, write those points of views that will impact those dissent and discrimination and attempt to justify and bring down a people who just simply were guilty of being in place and reign in the first earliest period. So today we must draw our own conclusion and rewrite those chapters that are missing. But it cannot be brought into fruition and believability unless it is written by the most astute of us and the profound research that is done and dealt by us. This is not in essence talking of racism practice or discriminatory practice or designate any condemnation upon those who inflict these shameful, hostile fronts against us. It is just simply suggesting that we now have a new order and a new day. If we look carefully, we won't need much to ask questions why we are suffering under the fate that we are suffering of poverty, impoverishment, pauperism, and just simply self-annihilation. Looking at today's situation, if one is satisfied with the condition that we are purporting, they leave things as they are. Personally, I cannot seek satisfaction in the condition and the stationary that we are today. Because understanding the ancient writings, we will understand how chronologically all of this came about, even to your current prejudice, racism, and discriminatory practice. It didn't just simply came about by man's intuition. It simply came about by those whom they dared to come out and say, we got to make ourselves more precedent and more stronger and not make ourselves look any less if we're going to make somebody less than ourselves. Make yourselves strong again. Become valuable people. Contribute. Contribute to the welfare for the whole. Be philanthropic in your character. Don't be unpatriotic in your statesmanship. Be forthright in appreciating all that our ancestors have struggled and toiled to make things so differently and so grand for us today, that we need to look back at the contributions, not only in the area of socialism, in the dynamics of just early civilization, but modern science. Include modern science, because mathematics is something that was born in ancient Egypt and Ethiopia. Mathematics. If you ask a squared plus b squared equals c squared, it was born in Egypt. If you look at the pyramid structure, the foundation of the pyramid structure, and you calculate the cubic inches area of the cubic inches, it will give you 94 million cubic inches in its area dimensions. Isn't that similar to the distance between Earth and Moon? The Earth and Sun, rather. Earth and Sun distance is about 93 million miles. Early astronomy and astrologers calculated one time ago the distance was only 500 miles. Later on they modified it and said it was only 2,000. But when you calculate the cubic inch area of the Cheops pyramid, you will find it is 94 million cubic inch in area. That in itself defines the distance between the Earth and the Sun. So therefore, none of this should be a mystery. And I think our modern day theologians should look into the studies of this and not just stay locked into a 1611 concept. That is shortly after the medieval. That was beginning of the movement a century later, after the movement of the radicalism of the Reform Act that was imposed by Martin Luther. He was the one who opposed to the Vatican Church, but it is up to us now to go beyond that and go back before the Nicene Inquisition. We ought to go back further than that, before the birth of the modern day controlled religious practice. And we will be surprised to find our contribution is so much more significant and far exceeds the primordial concept that man had dared to write about us, to define that our place was limited and stationary and not to exceed beyond a limited place. Let us grow and bring back the viability, bring back the strength, and be contributors. That way the world will not look at us as pitiful people, but we become the people of envy. And therefore contributing makes all the sense in the world to enhance our value and protect the children and the women and the yet to be born. Thank you for this moment that I can share this with you, this information, but I will be looking forward and coming back with you with a different topic range on other subjects, on historical accounts reflecting to American history and anything thereof, that I could be any assistance to open your eyes and ears, that you commit yourself to the research, the dynamics thereof. Thank you very much, and it's been my esteemed pleasure talking with you today.